What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA, and today we're going over my weigh-in recap for UFC Noche. We're going to talk about the weigh-ins, we're going to talk about the face-offs, and I'm going to tell you guys everything you need to know to pick these fights. Now, let's get into the first one. We got Sezinando versus Donchenko. Not a whole lot stood out to me in this first one. These guys both look good. They both seem ready to go. They both seem totally fine. You know, they don't seem like either one of them had a bad weight cut, like they're dealing with anything behind the scenes. They both seem ready to go. They both seem dialed. And, you know, making the UFC debut, I was a little bit curious to see how they were going to look in terms of, were they a little bit nervous? You know, was one of them showing anxious traits? Not at all. These guys both seem ready to go, and this was the face-offs between the two of them. They both seem ready to go. They seem dialed in, very confident. They were kind of like in each other's faces. Like they were both very, I don't want to say arrogant, but they're just very confident. You know, they're ready to put on the showmanship. It was pretty cool. You know, I was impressed to see them both step up like this, to really kind of have their UFC debut and be this confident and be this prepared. And I don't know, it seemed like they both had a great cut. So this is going to be a banger of a fight. You know, I'm getting more and more excited the more I look into this one just to see this, because these guys seem like they're ready to scrap. They don't seem like either one of them is going to take the back step here. It seems like it's going to be a war. So I keep getting more and more excited the more I look into this fight. But yeah, these guys both look good. Not a whole lot stood out to me in terms of the weigh-ins and the face-offs. So that's about it for this one. This is just a little bit more zoomed up, or a little closer of a look. But yeah, not a whole lot in this one. They both seem confident and ready to go. So next up, we got Rendon versus Pereira. This one stood out to me, you know, because honestly, in terms of all these weigh-ins, there wasn't a ton that stood out this week. But the one fight that did kind of intrigued me a little bit was this one. Now, Rendon, she's 36 years old. I had a bit of concern about, all right, how intense is she going to be taking this camp? How dedicated is she? How seriously involved is she still in her career at this point in time? Because she's not had this extensive UFC career, so it's hard to see if she's, you know what I mean, like how involved she is at this point. And she seems ready to go. She seems like she had a really good cut. And then when you look at Alice Pereira, you know, she just has this like very unathletic, unmuscular build to her. It seems like she's not really cutting hardly any weight. There's not a whole lot of muscle or anything there, where at least with Rendon, you know, she seems like she is cutting down to the perfect spot. You know, she seems just lean enough where there's enough muscle still there where she's not killing herself to make this weight. If any one of these two gave me the better look, it's definitely Rendon. You know, I don't know if it's just Pereira being so young and maybe her muscles just haven't had the time to develop as much as an older fighter would have, and that's what maybe why they're not as developed. But I don't know, man. She just doesn't look very athletic or very strong. And I know you can't just judge a book by its cover, obviously. I get that, don't get me wrong. It kind of reminds me of like a Kelvin Gastelum, you know, strong dude, but doesn't necessarily look like it. But at the same time, it's like it just rubbed me the wrong way. In terms of the face-offs, not a whole lot I could get from this, except from, you know, Rendon. She does look very confident. She looks very intense, ready to go, dialed in. Maybe a tad bit nervous, I don't know. But in terms of Pereira, her very odd stance, you know, hands on the floor. Odd stance, but I don't know. This fight just rubs me the wrong way, man. I just don't know exactly how to take this one. The weigh-ins and the face-offs, it did stand out to me, but ultimately I feel like it's not going to make a huge difference. It's just something, you know, if Rendon is going to be going for this grappling heavy base of this game plan, the physicality, you know, her muscles, the size, the strength, it's going to make a difference, you know, for her landing a takedown or possibly not getting a takedown. You know, that's going to make a huge difference. And I don't know, seeing Pereira just seemed this, I don't want to say unathletic, but I just want to say like not muscularly built, you know, not a whole lot of muscle, not a whole lot of cutting. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me, but I don't want to overthink it. It's just a small detail, but at the same time, something I wanted to point out to you guys that made me just ever small amount, whatever. Oh my God, it's getting late. Sorry. It's a small bit more confident in Rendon, but at the same time, I have this as a trap for a reason. So this has an influence in my decision a ton, but at the same time, I think Rendon looks to be in quite a lot better shape. But anyway, that does it for that one. Next up, we got Costa versus Coria. Now, I've said this one makes my confidence in this pick a tad bit lower, just because, you know, Coria, he's really coming in here looking a lot better than I thought he would for short notice. The other thing I found out, I was reading an article that the UFC put out on Coria, is that he was actually scheduled to fight in the Contender Series. They didn't say when, so I assume it's this season later on. And they said that fight that he had potentially lined up was canceled in order to fight here. And I went and looked on him. I went on his Tapology. I couldn't find anything to suggest that or confirm that, but it came from a UFC article on UFC.com. So, I mean, I'm trusting their words on that. So I'm like, okay, maybe that makes sense why he's looking so good. It makes it seem like he's been training, he's been cutting, possibly preparing for a fight, even if it was a couple weeks down the road. So that may be a little bit less confident, you know, because I do think Costa is a good fighter. I think he's a very good fighter. But I think he might just be a tad overrated. And the thing with Coria is like, I get the wide odds, and I didn't want to underestimate his abilities, but I also, on the other hand, kind of thought people were overrating him at the same time. So seeing him come up looking in this good of shape on this short of a notice step up does make me a tad bit less confident in Costa, but it's nothing to do with Costa. You know, he looked totally fine. He looks ready to go. He looks great on the scales. It's more so, I think Coria looks better than I thought he would. He seemed to have a much better cut than I thought he would. So it's more so him making me a little bit more confident in him, and nothing to do with Costa, if that makes sense. So anyway, this was them at the face-offs. Coria's a big dude. I mean, he was, I don't want to say towering over, but definitely sized up well, looking him down. But the face-off didn't really make a huge difference. Both these guys seemed ready to go. They both seemed locked in. So yeah, not a whole lot to get from this one, but I just wanted to talk about Coria did look pretty damn good for a short notice step up. Now, next up, we got Reese versus Dumas. Dumas was walking around like laughing and joking and kind of like acting like shit is sweet. I'm like, brother, if you have $13 in your bank account and you are worried about, you know, putting food on the table for you and your child, I don't know why he's not more locked in. He didn't seem as like locked in as he should be here. Where Zachary, all business, no joking, no laughing, no nothing. He was mean mugging the whole time. Made me a tad bit more confident in Zachary because I'm like, okay, this just confirmed everything I was thinking is, okay, Zachary is probably the guy who's taking his career a lot more seriously. You know, he's the more, I don't want to say serious fighter in the sense of how he acts, but just like serious in the sense of he takes his career very seriously, where Sedriques Dumas, not the most serious guy. So this just even confirmed that even further. Zachary looked really good. You know, SD Dumas, he did look good on the scales. I don't want to say he looked bad by any means. It's just his happy-go-lucky attitude. I don't know. He just didn't seem as focused as Zachary's. Not saying this means a whole lot. Now, in the face-offs, the size difference is pretty crazy. You know, Zachary is a big-ass dude. Does that mean a huge difference in this fight? I don't want to say so. I mean, it's just, in terms of the width, these guys seem pretty similar. It's just the height with the Cowboy hat, too, that gives him a little extra feeling like he's a lot bigger than he is. But at the same time, I can't say this affected my opinions a whole lot. Nothing really changed in my mind or surprised me. You know, I figured SD Dumas is probably going to be on some BS. Zachary is all business, so not a whole lot changed my opinion on this. I already have Zachary as a high confidence pick, so I can't really say a whole lot changed with this one. Now, next up, we got Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Gurule. Nothing really changed my mind on this one at all. Both these guys ready to go, locked in, dialed. They both looked like they had really good weight cuts. They both seemed ready to go. And the face-off, Aguilar had a bit of a funny stance. But in terms of this changing my confidence levels at all, no, nothing really stood out to me at all. Not a whole lot to say for this one. Now, if you guys like the video and you like the content, please consider subscribing to your boy. Drop a like, comment. All that means a ton. So thank you guys so much for all the love. Now, next up, we got Suarez versus Lemos. Not a whole lot really stood out to me in this one at all either. You know, Suarez looked good. Lemos looked good. Nothing really surprised me. I expected both of them to come out here very professional, looking good. They both did. Nothing really stood out to me here. This was them at the face-offs, too. This is one thing I wanted to point out, too. Some people might look at this face-off and say, well, you know, Suarez definitely has the more, like, I don't want to say timid, but, like, softer eyes, you know, where Lemos is, like, mean mug and, like, straight business. I think this is just their personalities, though. I don't think this is any level of intimidation or anxiety or fear. I don't think it's anything like that. I just think Tatiana Suarez is a very wholesome, like, sweetheart type of girl, and I think Amanda Lemos is like the tough mom. Like, when your boys had like, if like when you were younger, you had sleepovers with the homies, and one of the homies' moms was like super strict, and you never wanted to fuck around and find out if you got on her bad side. That's Amanda Lemos. She's just that like tough soccer mom type vibe. I think that's just their personalities. Where Tatiana Suarez, she's like that, the sweet, wholesome, very nice, like, oh, does your friend want something to eat too? Like that type of mom, you know. So that's just like the face-off kind of goes along with their personalities. That's what I took from it. So I can't really say this affects my opinion at all. But if that's my point is, if you were looking at this as an outsider and you didn't really know either of these girls that well, you could look like, oh, well, maybe Lemos might have won the face-off. You know, maybe she looked like she's more tough, ready to go, and Suarez might look a little bit more timid or scared. That's not the case at all. I think that's just their personalities. So yeah, either way, I didn't really get a whole lot from this weigh-in and face-off. Nothing really surprised me. Nothing really changed my opinion at all. They both seem ready to go. They both seem locked in. So this is going to be a fun one. Now, next up, we got Púleles versus Silva. Púleles definitely had the worst weight cut of the two of them, but neither of them seemed like they had a bad weight cut. It's just Púleles definitely seemed like a little bit more sucked in, a little bit more dry, a little bit more drained. but nothing to really worry me. Now, the only reason why I could see some potential hesitation or some potential concern here is that Silva's going to have he has some power, man. He has some power in his fists. If he lands on Púleles, he could mess him up. We saw what he did to Sarukin. He had Sarukin hurt for a little bit too. So, Púleles having a tougher weight cut, I could get why people might be a little bit concerned, like, oh shit, if this guy had a not great weight cut, that's going to affect your chin. It's going to affect your durability. So, I could get a potential concern about that. Now, does it really seem like that to me? I don't personally think so. I don't think it's that bad to where he seemed that sucked in or that dry or that, I don't know, lifeless to where it'd be like a potential concern. It didn't seem that way to me. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I think both these guys are ready to go. But between the two of them, it's definitely clear that Silva had the better weight cut. He seemed in great shape, perfectly fine, filled in perfectly. Whereas Púleles, you can see in his face, and especially around his eyes a little bit, it's like his cheekbones are a little more sunken in. He definitely seems like he had a rougher time, but I'm not going to let it really affect my opinion too much on this one. I still have it as a trap for a reason. So yeah, can't really say a whole lot about this one. Now, next up, we got Jose Medina versus Dusko Todorovic. This was a funny one to talk about. Now, we're going to talk about it. Does this change my confidence levels at all? Absolutely not. But they had a goofy-ass face-off. If you did not see this, you got a picture of it. This is what this face-off looked like. I mean, I'm going to show you it, and this is what it looked like to me. This is exactly what it reminded me of. SpongeBob and Patrick. But this was them. Okay, this is Jose Medina shooting his gun off at Dusko Todorovic. He's like, gets off the scale, he shoots his gun. Then Dusko blocks it with his hands for whatever reason. Now this is like a sitcom. This is like they're both fully engaged in the skit now. And then this is them at the final face-off. It was the goofiest shit ever, but it was low-key kind of funny. I mean, Medina, I don't know what he's doing here. Is he just trying to sell a fights and just keep his career alive? Like, shit, man. I'm about to go 0-4 in the UFC at this point, or 0-3. So I need to keep my name alive. I need to somehow sell some tickets, get myself another contract. Maybe this was it. Maybe the gun showmanship. I don't know. In terms of the confidence, I mean, it can't really affect me either way. This was a SpongeBob-ass performance, so from both guys. So, I mean, yeah, this doesn't really change my mind a whole lot. But next up, we got Hernandez versus Pereira. Now, the one thing I'll say about this is you can tell with Pereira, the age is definitely starting to appear on him physically. He definitely, when I saw this, I was like, damn, dude, Pereira kind of looks like an IT dad. I don't know. He's starting to age a bit. Now, he looks great. He looks great for 40. He's still busting ass. He's still kicking ass. But Hernandez, he's hit his peak in his physical prime. 32 years old. He's ready to go. Absolutely shredded. Absolutely great. But, I mean, he always looks like that. Nothing really stood out to me from either of these guys, except with Pereira, he's getting a little bit older. You can start to tell. But they both seem great. They both seem ready to go. They both seem like they had good weight cuts. Nothing stood out to me in a negative way at all. And then this was them at the face-offs. Straight business, mean mugging. Nothing stood out to me here. Both these guys seem ready to go. Both veterans at this point. Very experienced. Nothing stood out to me here. So, next up, we got Santiago Luna versus Quang Lee. Lee did look a little bit sucked in. He did look like he had a not great cut. But at the same time, I don't want to say it's anything bad. Nothing alarming or surprising or anything to really be concerned of. It's just kind of like one of the previous fights I was talking about. If you had to compare who had the better cut, who had the worst cut, I'd say Luna definitely had the better cut of the two, which is kind of interesting because he's stepping up on short notice, which is interesting. But, yeah, both guys seem decently ready to go, though. Same when you see the face-offs, yeah, at least seems a little bit sunken in, but nothing concerning, nothing to really give me any type of concern for him. I think these guys will both be ready to go. They'll both be ready to go to war. I'm excited for this one. I'm actually a lot more excited for this one than I feel like a lot of other people are, but yeah, I think this is going to be a fun-ass fight, so I'm excited to see both these guys go out there. But yeah, in terms of the weigh-ins and face-offs, not a whole lot changed in my opinion. Can't really say anything really affected me either way in this one, so. Next up, we got Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Kelvin Gastelum missed weight by quite a few pounds, weighing in at 191 pounds. We're not even trying. We are not even trying. This lowers my confidence in Kelvin Gastelum, because on one hand, people could say, well, now Kelvin's coming in with huge weight advantage. This means he wants his win, man. And I honestly get that. If Kelvin comes in here and just wrestle fucks his way to a win with the huge weight miss, I would not be surprised in the slightest. Or, on the other hand, you could argue, Kelvin doesn't give a shit. He's mentally checked out. He's just here to get his paycheck and bounce. How do you it could go either way. I mean, he's not even taking his shirt off, man. He's like, fuck that. You're not going to see this. You're not seeing this until fight day. I mean, like, it gets to a point. How do you take this? It lowers my confidence. That's for damn sure. I mean, it lowers my confidence because either way, he's either trying to cheat his way to a win or he just doesn't give a shit. That doesn't give me confidence. I want to see someone who's dialed and focused and locked in and taking it seriously. Either way, he's not taking it as seriously as he should be. So it has to lower my confidence in him. Whereas Dustin, he's ready to go, man. He looked great. Looked like he had a good weight cut. In terms of the face-offs, nothing really stood out to me. But dude, Dustin, considering he actually made weight, he looks like the bigger guy out here. I mean, yeah, you can't see Kelvin without his shirt off, obviously, but kind of crazy that he actually looks bigger, takes up more space considering he actually made weight. Kind of crazy. But yeah, this is going to be a really weird one, but my confidence definitely got lowered, Kelvin, seeing this shit. But anyway, next up, we got Rafael Garcia versus Jared Gordon. Nothing really stood out to me here. I mean, nothing stood out to me. These guys both seem fine. They both seem ready to go. This was one of the easier ones. I mean, they both seem like everything went according to schedule. They both seem fine. This was them with the face-offs. Mean mugging with the face-offs, though. Crazy face-off. This is pretty dope. I mean, like, same height and everything. Those are the best. It's just like badass face-off. But in terms of neither guy won it. I mean, both of them looked dialed in. Neither guy had a ounce of fear or doubt or anything, which is super sick. Awesome face-off. These guys are both badasses. You know, I mean, to do that, I mean, I wouldn't want to do a face-off against either of these guys. That would be kind of crazy. You know, that I'm looking away first, that's for sure. Yeah, in terms of my confidence levels, though, doesn't really change a whole lot. Both these guys are ready to go. They both mean business. And yeah, doesn't change my confidence at all. They both seem fine. Now, next up, we got Rob Font versus David Martinez. Not a whole lot here either. You know, Rob Font was kind of geeking a little bit. He was kind of tweaking out. This picture of him that I got was the best one I could get because he kept like looking around and he wasn't standing still and he was only up there for like a couple seconds and he like ran off or not like ran off, but like he was very jittery up there and you kind of look at him. He kind of looks like tweaked out. But it was kind of funny though, like not like a bad thing. It didn't like suggest that anything was wrong. It's just kind of funny. And yeah, David Martinez on the other hand, he looked really good, seemed fine, seemed ready to go, seemed dialed in. The face-off, both mean mugging. Dude, Rob Font has a mean face-off, dude. Rob Font, he's gritty, man. He doesn't give a shit. He will win by any means necessary. So, I mean, W face-off from both of these guys. I can't say Rob Font necessarily looked better in the face-off because David Martinez seemed pretty ready to go, but dude, Rob Font has that like bad guy from a movie type vibe. He looks like that. I don't know. This is like a typical like bad guy look. That's just Rob Font. He has that look to him, especially in this face-off, man. But yeah, I can't really say it changed my opinion a whole lot or weighed my opinion either way. Both these guys seem ready to go. They both seem locked in. Zero intimidation from either side. So yeah, can't really say a whole lot for this one. Now, next up, we got Diego Lopes versus Gene Silva. This was a crazy-ass face-off. This was pretty wild, and I feel like not a lot of people are talking about the very end of this. That we'll get to it, but it was hilarious. Now, both these guys made weight. They're both ready to go. Diego Lopes, business as usual, had a good cut, looked great, looks ready to go, looks in perfect shape. Gene Silva, absolute crazy madman as usual. So can't say anything different here. He looks completely ready to go, as you guys can see. Yeah, screaming and all that shit. It's crazy. Now, this was a crazy-ass face-off, though. So this was them at first. This is after Gene Silva weighs in first, and then he goes there, and he's just sitting there, and he's just like, he's sitting there, and he's just waiting for Diego Lopes to come over. He's like waiting on him. It reminded me of the John Jones. Dude, I'm like, Gene Silva thinks he's John Jones, and he's just like sitting there like about to crawl to him. So they have this face-off. Crazy ass face-off, dude. You cannot win a face-off against Gene Silva. You just can't. So I mean, Diego Lopes, he lost the face-off by default. I mean, I don't want to say he looked intimidated. It's hard to see with the cowboy hat on, but I'll tell you what, if anyone took an edge in this face-off of who looked like they were handling the mental pressure better, dude, Gene Silva is literally unbreakable. You cannot break a madman's mental physique or psyche. I mean, you just can't. So, but I don't want to say Diego Lopes looked bad. They both look fine in the face-off, but dude, Gene Silva's he's a madman. But this was the hilarious part. This is the funny thing I wanted to talk about. Afterwards, when they have the face-off, they go to do questions, with the main event. They interview Gene Silva first. He refuses to break eye contact with Diego Lopes. He literally, you can see the translators to the right of him. He's not even looking at him in the eyes. He's looking at Diego Lopes. He refuses to break eye contact while he's getting interviewed. It's absolutely hilarious. And they only ask him one question because it's like, he's not even they're holding the mic up to him, but he's not turning his head to look and talking to the mic. He doesn't give a shit. He's just eyeing Diego Lopes down. Absolutely hilarious. And then this is afterwards when they're done interviewing him. He's still not refusing to look away. He's standing his ground. He's not moving. They cannot get him to get out of there. He's just standing there, mean mugging Diego Lopes. And then Diego Lopes finally looks away, and they go to interview him. They do an interview with him. And it was normal. I forget what he was saying. It was a good response, whatever he was saying. It's totally fine. Nothing really eventful. But then afterwards, this is after they ask him, it was literally like one question, and then he goes and walks off. If people clicked off early, they didn't watch this, you guys gotta go back and watch this shit. It is hilarious. Right when Diego Lopes walks off behind the curtain or whatever, you can hear Gene Silva in the background barking. You hear this, like he's barking loud as shit in the background. You can hear it, but you can't see him. Like, I watched the video back multiple times. You can't see Gene Silva. You can't see him at all. I don't know where he is in this screenshot right here. I have no idea where Gene Silva is, but he's lurking somewhere, and he is just barking. It was loud as shit. You can hear it. So if you haven't seen this, it was actually so damn funny. Go back and watch it. It was hilarious. I was dying laughing. I was like, ain't no way. I was like, there's no way. He's just lurking, waiting to bark at Diego Lopes. I don't know. It was pretty damn funny to me. But in terms of the confidence, this was the original confidence rankings that we had in terms of the weigh-ins in the face-offs and all that. This is, just really quick, I'll go over my confidence levels. But I want to say as a whole, I didn't change anything. This is the final. Nothing changed at all between the original and here. Just a couple things kind of influenced my opinions. One, and we'll break them down from the top. Well, Reese versus Dumas. Zachary seemed completely locked in, dialed, focused, had a great weight cut. SD Dumas, he just seemed a little, I don't know, he didn't seem as mentally checked in. He seemed a little like happy-go-lucky, which I didn't like to see. So if anyone was taking this more seriously, it definitely seemed like Zach Reese is. And to go with all of the ankle monitor bullshit that SD Dumas had to go through, you already know that Zach Reese has had to have had the better camp, not dealing with legal BS and going to jail and ankle monitor and all that shit. So definitely a little bit more confident in Reese, but at the same time, he's already as high as he can be. So that's about it. And then with Costa versus Coria, I just have a tad bit less confidence. Nothing to do with Costa, purely just that Coria, considering he took this fight on very short notice, he looked pretty damn good on scales. He looked better than I thought he would. So just a tad bit more, I don't want to say more confident in him because I'm picking Costa, but he exceeded my expectations for what I thought he was going to look like come weigh-in. So shout out to Coria. He had a good weight cut, so it made me a tad bit less confident in this one, but ever so slightly. And then, but the main one is Gastelum versus Stoltzfus, man. That made me way less confident in Gastelum. Seeing him miss weight by that much, because it's a coin toss. It's like, shit, he's on a bad skid. He needs a win here, or he just doesn't give a shit. I'm here for my paycheck and I'm trying to go home. How do you tell? I don't know. He didn't really give me signs to tell me either way. If you guys have heard something or anything like that, let me know in the comments. But it didn't really, it doesn't give me good confidence. I'll tell you that. It doesn't, either way, it's not a good sign seeing him miss weight by that much. So anyway, next up, and then we had Hernandez versus Pereira. Just a tad bit less confidence in Pereira, just ever so slightly. Either way, I do think this is damn near a coin toss. I think this is a pick 'em for a reason. And, just Pereira at 40 years old, he definitely was starting to, I don't know, just, you can see it in his face. He's definitely starting to age a little bit. And at what point is 40 going to be too much? Is he like a Jared Cannonier who can just still keep on kicking ass? I just don't know. And on the other hand, I don't know if Hernandez is really the guy to just run right through Pereira. Pereira's still a good fighter, and he's still been able to hang at the high level later into his career. So it's like he's proven that he can still hang at this age, and it's just a matter of when the train starts to slow down. And is Hernandez going to be that guy? I don't know. He had a really good performance against Chase Hooper, but I don't want to let that recency bias really influence my opinions on him of how I thought about him before that fight. I'm super torn on this one. It's a damn coin toss. So ever so slightly less confident in this fight, but either way, I have really no confidence either way to begin with on this one. I do think it's a pick 'em. And then besides that, Rendon versus Pereira. Ever so slightly more confident in Rendon just because she seemed really good. She seems muscular, strong. She seems like she had a really good weight cut. She's still taking her career very seriously, it seems like. So that gave me more confidence in her. And then with Pereira, she didn't seem very, I don't want to say athletic, because I guarantee you she's very athletic. It just, she didn't seem like she's very well built, strong, and muscular. And when she's going against a girl that's literally going to have to pressure her way to takedowns and get them to the ground, and Rendon wants to take Pereira to the ground, and strength is going to be a huge factor in who can win that game plan or win that fight and that exchange. That doesn't give me more confidence in Pereira, I'll tell you that. It gives me less confidence in her. Seeing her seems so undeveloped in terms of her muscularity, in terms of her muscle. So that does give me a little bit more confidence in Rendon, but I still have this as a trap for a reason. Obviously, it's going to be a very interesting fight, because at the same time, why do you think they're giving this crazy hot prospect, crazy hot in terms of like what the UFC wants to promote, the youngest women's fighter in the history of the sport? Crazy, you know, they're promoting the shit out of her for a reason. Rendon seems like the type of fighter that she can beat. So I get what the UFC is doing here. I get what they're doing here. But at the same time, blue belt versus black belt, this is one of those two. I know I'm rambling about this, and I still have it as a trap, but like, looking back, if I pick a blue belt to beat a black belt in MMA, regardless of the striking, I don't think I'm going to be able to look back and confidently say, you know what, I can live with that pick. I'm going to look back and be like, what the hell was I thinking? So I can live with this pick being wrong. I can live with this one. I can wake up the next day and be like, you know what, totally fine. I don't care. But if I pick Pereira and she gets submitted in the first round, I'd be pissed. So the pick's got to be Rendon, but still a trap. And then we got Púleles versus Silva. Púleles definitely seemed to have a bit of a tougher weight cut, and that's literally all that really stood out to me in this. So nothing really changes in terms of my pick, obviously, but the weight cut didn't seem like it was the best. Didn't seem bad. I don't want to say it looked bad by any means, but Silva definitely had the better weight cut. So I guess that makes me ever so less slightly in that one. And then finally we got Font versus Martinez. Dude, Rob Font, he's mean mugging, man. He means business, man. He's not messing around. He's like the bad guy in a James Bond movie, man. He just keeps finding a way to come back. You can't get rid of him. And it lowers my confidence, not even necessarily in him. This is more so it lowers my confidence in my mental sanity of having to pick this fight. So this could go either way. I won't be surprised either way. But anyway, guys, that does it for the video. That does it for the weigh-in recap for UFC Noche. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys liked it. I know I'm posting this super late. It's 11 p.m. for me right now, so I know this is going to be, by the time I upload it and edit it and all the thumbnail and all that shit, it's going to be a little bit later. So I apologize for the late video, but better late than never. I still got to work on the betting breakdown video. Betting breakdown video will be out sometime tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. I know I'm cutting it short, but that video will be out. It will be out. So anyway, guys, stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support, all the likes, comments, subscriptions, memberships, everything. It means so much to me. So thank you guys so much for all the love and all the support. It's genuinely very, very, very appreciated. So until I see you guys in the next one, I'm going to go edit this video and get it out to you guys. So thank you guys once again for all the love and the support. And until I see you guys next time, it's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA, and I'm out. So peace.